B-Quartet have just released their latest effort, Conformity Has Replaced Consciousness, and Razor TV got the chance to speak to the boys about what was done differently than the two previous albums, 2005's The Smith & Bard EP, and 2008's Tomorrow Is Our Permanent Address.
Are you lonely there? Are we lonely?
The way my brother writes songs, it evolves. The way he writes, it evolves. And now the second album, he wrote like completely different from the first album. I feel it's completely different. And at first, every one of us were like, dude, you really want to go this direction? Like we didn't really feel the vibe. We didn't really like it. I don't know, like more mellow, more chill, darker. Basically, we like rock and roll. We're like
First, we made it a conscious effort to not sound like the first album. That's number one. Number two, most of the stuff that you've heard is actually conceived in the studio itself.
So each time in the studio, it's like we're writing in the studio, we're coming up with stuff in the studio, we're adding layers and layers after tracks are done. So it was very different from the first album.
I guess we just wanted to try something different, be spontaneous about it, kind of thing. I'm actually a fan of writing in the studio. You kind of challenge yourself to come up with lines and riffs in the contained amount of time you have. So it's a different approach.
Six of us, all of us have different tastes in everything. I mean, we are so different from each other. Sometimes we diss each other on musical, influences and stuff like that. Especially me, they hate my influences. But
What are your influences?
I'm a big Van Halen fan.
What's wrong with Van Halen?
I don't know, man. You ask them.
The recording process was tough as hell. Because I wasn't recording conventionally, basically. Like how people have a full set. With this album I recorded completely differently. Like I only had like drums, and then I add cymbals later. So I have to play like I didn't have a cymbal here, but I have to imagine it's there. And then on the second take, I'll be like, okay, I don't have drums here, but I add cymbals now. Yeah.
We explored with sort of like guitar effects, like modulations and stuff like that. But instead of running it through a guitar, we had a microphone instead. So the idea was to do a live sampling of any kind of sounds that we could get. Mostly human voices, but we also try with like radio static, white noise. We try with a few other variations here and there. And the idea was to run it through and see if we could come up with something, maybe if it's more either melodic or rhythmic, or if it's just like random patterns, but how it fits as a design piece as opposed to just merely sound.
And just started.
My favorite song in the album would be, let me see, I think I like Dull. A dull taste on my tongue. I think that's the title of the song. Because in this,
You think that's the title of the song?
I think so. I mean, in the studio we don't call it from the full title. We just say, oh, Dull, let's do Home, let's do this.
I guess I would push to a corner. I'll probably pick Still Homeless, or what the four of us, or rather the six of us, would like to call it as Hobo.
I like Still Homeless the most, I think.
My favorite song, We Vacate. Yep.
My favorite song right now was actually a song I used to really hate when we were in studio writing. It's Compo number 3.
I know it's sort of like one of those things everyone say, I love all my songs, but I mean, it really does apply in this sense, because there was not that just one song that we paid special attention to, or we gotta nurse this one to the max.
In the next 3 parts, you'll get to see the band do what they do best, performing their songs at their album launch.